Welcome to the Born for Better podcast, where it's about better health, better wealth, and better self. And I'm your host, Devin.djwan. And today, what I'd like to discuss with you all is during your darkest moments when you find yourself. So, what does that mean? Well, there's these moments in your life, and you're going to have them on, different occasions where you're going to have your back against the wall. Not necessarily in the physical sense. Sometimes it could be in the physical sense, but metaphorically speaking, your back is going to be against the wall, and you're going to have to figure it out. And it is in those dark moments, the darkest of moments, where one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to dig deep to figure it out, or you're going to get lost in the darkness. Now, here's the thing. When you're there, you don't try to run away, because honestly, you can't outrun the dark. Okay? You can't outrun the dark. So let's not do that. But while you're there, it's time to concentrate. It's time to focus. It's kind of like this. When you were young and you were in a dark place, a dark room, you would lean against the wall and you would literally feel your way forward, right? You would scale the wall, leaning against it to feel your way forward as you walk through the dark, room, corridor, whatever it was. As you were walking through, you were touching the wall to make sure that it was leading you somewhere. So now, when you are lost in the darkness and the dark recesses of your mind, which I like to call the dark space, there's a chapter in my book I call the dark space, specifically talking about this. But when you are there, you may not have a flashlight. So you have to become the flashlight. Like, you have to become the light to get out of your dark situation. You hear what I'm saying? You have to become the light in the dark to get out of your situation. Because when you fell into the darkness, I'm sure you didn't have a flashlight, did you? No, don't worry, I didn't either. And so when you're there in that space, you have to become that. But before you can become the light, you have to work on yourself. That means the thoughts. That means the feelings, the emotions. That means the forgiving the things, people, places that got you to that dark space. Forgiving yourself. You got to go through all of these things in order to be able to turn your internal light on. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So it's imperative that when you are in that dark space, that you don't choose the easy way out, which is to just get lost in the dark. It's a cop out. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say or sell you a dream and then tell you that choosing to turn on your internal light is going to be one of the easiest things you ever did, because I would be lying. It's not. It is going to be obstacles. You are going to face challenges. It is going to be tough. Like anything that you have to work for in life, it is going to be tough. You want to lose weight, it's going to be tough. You want to hit a certain financial goal, it's going to be tough. You want to build relationships, maybe with some difficult people, it's going to be tough. You want to reach a certain level of what you deem as success, it's going to be tough. Anything that's worth anything, that has some weight to it, that has some value to it, significance to it, it's going to be tough. So in that dark space, you got to start the process of working on yourself. Now, also while you're there, there's no time for no pity party. It's just because once again, that's easy, right? That's going towards the route of saying, all right, you know what? I'm just getting lost in the darkness. It's easy to go and throw that pity party. If you spend a lot of time throwing that pity party, guess what? It's not getting you out of the darkness. It's just going to keep you right there. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to have moments where you're having human emotion, because last time I checked, we all human. But by the same token, do not allow yourself to throw yourself that pity party, because the only thing that's going to do is flare up the emotions. And right now in the dark, you got to be sound. You got to be cool, calm, collected. You got to feel your way through this thing. So, once you get over that particular point of it all and you say to yourself, okay, you know what? Let me calm down. Let me figure out where I'm at. That's the thing. You in the darkness, you know that, but it's like, where are you in the darkness? Going back to the analogy that I was using earlier, the scenario I was using earlier, where I'm talking about you being a child and you feeling your way through the dark. Okay, well, you're in a certain room or in a certain place in the darkness, and you're trying to get to another place by feeling your way through it. It's the same thing. Figure out where you are in the dark. There's levels to it. Now, I can tell you, the deeper you fall into darkness, the further away from light it is, right? When you in the pitch black. Oh, when you in the pitch black, it is tough. It is hard. It sucks. A lot of people don't make it back from it. But when you're there, here's the beautiful part about the darkness, is that there's no distractions. There is no noise. It's just you and your thoughts. It's just you and you. That's it. It's just you. And that voice that you hear inside your head. And you got to make amends with yourself. You got to come to grips with yourself. That means the good, the bad, the ugly, the painful truths. Also, sometimes we don't recognize our strengths. We don't acknowledge those things. Maybe because we want other people to acknowledge them. But in the darkness, you're going to have to acknowledge them, because you're going to have to use those things in order to get out of the darkness. So you're going to have to acknowledge that as well. Also, you're going to have to just put a lot of the worldly stuff to the side, because that's not going to get you out either. It's all you. Now, it seems scary, and sometimes it can be, especially when you're not used to interacting with yourself on that deepened level. But at the same time, it's a beautiful thing, because you finally get to interact with yourself on that level. And building a relationship with yourself is the most important thing you could do. It's because everybody gonna have an opinion of you. Everybody gonna say something about you. Everybody's gonna have their certain perception, right? But what do you have about yourself? That's key. A lot of people don't ask questions. Everybody would just rather take things for face value. Well, there's a saying that goes, when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. That could be true. But it also could be a situation where, by asking the right questions, you really get to figure out who people are. But the same thing when it comes to asking other people the right questions to get to know them. You got to ask yourself the right questions. Now, I've said this before in previous podcasts, and the reason why I say it over and over again is because I can't, reiterate this enough. I can't harp on this enough because it's true. And what I'm telling you is at this point, the dark moments, you can call them low moments, whatever you want to call them. But in these dark moments, there are no other distractions. So you have the opportunity that you didn't have before to ask those hard questions. If you do not want to ask yourself the hard questions, the uncomfortable questions, and confront yourself, then you are once again choosing the easy way out. That way of, all right, well, I'm here in the darkness. This is my new home now. Might as well just stay here. I'm never going to turn on my internal light. I'm never going to find my way out of this place. You're basically saying, I've given up and I'm okay with that. And that's fine. Everybody has their own choices to make. But if you are listening to this right now on a podcast, or if you are watching this on YouTube right now, if this is connecting with you right now, that's letting me know that you want to get out of the situation. So what you're going to have to do is say, okay, enough running away from my own self. I'm about to ask myself some uncomfortable questions so that I can get some answers and, hopefully reveal some uncomfortable truths. And when you do this, it's enlightening, right? So because now no longer do you have to hide again from yourself. It's enlightening. So now the next step is, okay, well, once I've done that, how do I begin working on some of these lower aspects of myself? Yes, while you're in the dark, start working on those lower aspects of yourself, because now you're saying, okay, I've identified what the issue is. What's the next action step? What can I start to do to just move the needle forward a little bit? And so once you begin to do that and you say, okay, I acknowledge this, I'm working on this, you're gonna notice, you're gonna feel just a little bit better about yourself. And your light's gonna start to turn on, but it's gonna be like on a dim setting. It's not gonna just turn all the way on. The next thing you know, voila, let there be light. No. It's gonna turn on, but it's gonna be on a dim setting. And as you start to work through your low points, your weak areas, that dimmer is going to turn up. Just little by little, it's going to turn up. And then once it does, you'll start to be able to light your way. You'll be able to see the path you need to take to get up out of this dark situation. And then as you're working through it, you're going to come up against some traumatic moments, because we all carry trauma. Whether we acknowledge it or not, that's a different thing, but we all carry it. So you're going to have to face the boogeyman, if you will, those traumatic moments, because carrying that trauma is not healthy for you. It's not healthy for people around you. It's not healthy for your present moment and the places you want to go, the things you want to do is going to stop you from getting there. So you definitely got to work on that. You're going to have to work on that, because you don't want this thing to mess over you and everybody around you, or halt you in your path from getting to your destination. Now, the other thing to think about as well is, as you're starting to face those traumatic experiences, allow yourself to feel it, but don't become it. Because guess what? It already happened. So you don't have to live in that past moment. It already happened. Allow yourself to feel the pain. It's uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't want to go back to that point no more. Feel the pain, but don't become it. The reason why you want to feel it is because you are allowing yourself to get over the situation. Sometimes we hold things within. We don't release it. We hold that emotion in. So allow yourself to feel the emotion so that you can begin to release it, to let it go. You know what I mean? But when you keep it all bottled inside, and you may be feeling it every once in a while, but you just kind of keep suppressing it and pushing it down and pushing it down and pushing it down. You're not doing yourself a service. You're actually doing yourself a disservice. So allow yourself to feel that trauma. I mean, just with open arms, just arms wide open. Allow yourself to feel that trauma, and then once you do, let it go. Then you're gonna notice your light. It was on the dimmer setting. You're gonna notice it's gonna turn up some more. It's gonna turn up a lot after that because you handling some traumas, and this is big. This is big stuff right here. And then as you march further on down, you're starting to see the path. You're starting to see the way. Guess what? Now you're gonna have to confront your ego. Like, oh dang, my ego? Well, your ego is meant to protect you, but depending on how you program your ego, and chances are somebody or something or some outside programming programmed your ego. You wasn't even really in control of it. Your ego was dictated by external sources, not what was going on within yourself. So therefore, you're going to have to confront your ego. You're going to have to confront your other side. It's you versus you down here. Remember that. You're going to have to confront the other side. The superficial aspects of you. The part that maybe some people love about you and some people hate. Just depends on who you're around. But you're going to have to confront that. Once you do, again, you're going to notice that light that's on that dim set and just get brighter and brighter. Now, we can go deeper into it, but right now I'm not going to stray too far from the subject matter about confronting the ego. But just understand, it's going to be one of the biggest things you could ever do. Fighting yourself when yourself knows every move about yourself. Yeah, it's a different type of battle. And then also you're going to confront your fears. Okay. So you're facing all the low aspects of yourself. So we got trauma, number 1. We got ego, number 2. We got fears, number 3. You're going to face that. And it's going to scare the hell out of you. You understand what I'm saying? It's going to scare the hell out of you. All right. You can try to run from it, but it will be there. Ain't no way around it. You trying to get out. The only way out is through these things that I'm talking to you about right now. And when you say, okay, you know what? I gotta face you. I can't be scared no more. I gotta face the fact that my fears are right in front of me. And I'm gonna have to tear them down. This is all mental. This is all the war going on in your mind. It's different facing your fears in reality out here in the world that we are maneuvering around in. But before you can even begin to face them out in the external world, you got to face them inside. And again, this is going to be tough. This is not an easy situation. It's not an easy thing to do, but you're a brave heart. You got to be if you're going down this path. So you're going to face them fears. And then the next thing you're going to face is a choice. What? Devin, what you talking about? Allow me to explain. After you get over the trauma and the ego and the fears, you're going to have to face a choice. You're going to have to make a choice to say, after fighting through all of that, is it worth me finding my way out of this place? Do I even have enough strength in me now to want to find a way out? You've already faced the quote unquote hard part, but you're exhausted at this point from going through all that internal work. It's exhausting working on yourself. It's just like working on anything else. After a while of doing the same thing, it gets exhausting. So then do you even have the strength to continue? Right? So you got to make a choice to get out or to stay where you at. Because you could do all that internal work and still stay in the dark. Ain't that a trip? You may have your little dimmer light on, though. You may not be in the pitch black no more, but you're still going to be there. And you make a choice. And then you start to say, you know what, against all odds, I'm going to get out or I'm going to stay in. If you say I'm going to get out, okay, now with everything in you, you are climbing out of that dark place, or as I like to call it, once again, the dark space. You're climbing out. The last thing that's going to happen is as you come into the light, as you coming up, there's going to be one last thing that's going to block you. And that's going to be part 2 of your ego. You're going to have to battle that again. But in a different way now. Because now it's like, am I good enough to come back into the light again? And am I prepared enough to come back into the light again? The first time you face the ego, it's going to be a whole bunch of, oh, you think you good. You think you can, get past me, or you think that you great, you nothing, you nobody. Like, this is your ego saying, I don't need the authentic version of you to try to emerge right now. I'm your ego. I got your best interests at heart. I know you weak in these areas, so that's why you need me. That's what your ego is saying. So let me handle this situation. I got it from here. And you've been letting your ego run the whole show for a while, but shoot, your ego probably could be the reason why you're in the dark space, right? So that was the first battle. Again, I'm not going to get too deep off into that. That could be another podcast. But the second time you face your ego is now, are you good enough? And this more is you facing the fact that you're about to get back out here and you're going to have to deal with what everybody else thinks about. However you fell into the dark space, you're going to have to deal with the whole world around you now. It's no longer you dealing with yourself no more. So the ego, it's like this last ditch effort for the ego to say, remember, you can use me. You still need me. If you just allow me to take over, I'll make sure you're good out here in the world again. But then your authentic self, that inner spirit of you got to say, you know what? Nah, I'm going to take it from here. The ego never dies, and you will use the ego from time to time, but that authentic spirit inside yourself, man, he or she gonna be like, yeah, I gotta take it from here. I gotta face it. I gotta face the rest of the world. And that is how you are going to get out of like that dark space. That's how you're going to be able to do it. That's how you're going to be able to find yourself, to find your way out, going through those things. So, I hope that in listening to this today, this was definitely helpful. This is something that I had to go through. And as I always say, when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to my reflection. So therefore, anybody who's going through this, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. It was a horrible time for me. And if you are there, definitely know that I empathize with you. This is why I'm putting this content out, because I want you to be able to get through the situation. All right. Also, with that being said, like this video, comment, subscribe, share it. Same on the podcast. And remember this: do better as an action, be better as a lifestyle. I'm your host, Devin.djwan. And until next time, take care.